Hey, you guys, how's things? Okay, so I've decided how to finish these up. Um, couple things. Does anybody remember when I said I thought I would put like a notepad right here? So I really liked that idea and I decided to just go for it. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how I did that. I did one already and pretty much that's how I'm going to do the rest of them. And then the other thing is this little guy. I decided not to stitch it in to the journal because I was going through yet another drawer and I found, I don't know why, but I had like 15 signatures that I had made for Reader's Digests. And they just happened to fit perfectly in these. So I decided I'm just going to make these like a little journal, and that can still just slip right underneath this belly band here. So it doesn't need to be, um, attached. Anyway, so I'm going to stitch that together and then we're going to do the little notepad here. It'll be kind of like a matchbook cover on it. So, this is just going to be super simple. First thing, so it's kind of weird when you do this with an envelope, like you wind up with this little bit of where it kind of pooches out, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. You just kind of have to run your fingers along there and kind of flatten it out. Anyway, so I just want to add a little piece of this. This is that Tim Holtz, Timmy washi, like book tape. So actually, I don't like this one on there. I think I'm going to use this one. I had two of these already. I think these two come in a set, and I've had those for a while, but they had the other two at Joann's the other day. Somebody asked me the other day if I would hold things closer to the camera, so I'll try to remember to do that, you guys. I'm really not a cinematographer, but anyway. Okay, so I'm thinking about doing like a short live sale. Remember how we used to do that back in the day? I stopped going to live sales. I was just spending way more money than I should have. So I don't know. People are still doing live sales, I'm assuming. But I was thinking about doing a little bit of a live sale. I've got a ton of fabric that I want to destash. So, I don't know. Would you guys be into hanging out with me on a live sale for a little while? One of these days. I was thinking like right around the end of this month. Anyway, so I just added a little piece of that fabric washi on there just because I wanted to. Doesn't really serve any purpose, but so you guys know how to stitch signatures together. I don't really need to go through that whole thing. I'm just going to do 2 holes here and tie it in. That's honestly all I'm going to do. Super easy. Let me put this over here. And then I'll show you the little notepad. So I went through papers and I just pulled out a whole bunch of just junk journal pages, things that I would normally add into signatures, and just cut them down to size. I think I did probably about 30 pages or so, maybe a little more than that. I don't know. Some ledger and, onion skin, some map pages, vellum, things like that. So I cut them all to a width of 4.5 inches. And then I tried not to go longer than 9 inches on any of them. So that was my only, criteria really. So yeah, because I mean, it has to fit in that space. So it went 4.5, and then this is about 10 inches long. So yeah, so about 4.5 by 9 was what I wound up with. Okay, so set the cover aside. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this in a way that makes sense. I'm really bad about measurements and score lines and things like that. So I tried to label things so that they would make sense. So basically, if you're planning to make this little kind of like oversized matchbook cover notebook, what you'll need are a couple pieces of scrapbook paper. So basically you could do this with one 12 by 12, I think. Maybe you need more than that, but I think you would need more than that. Anyway, at least 1.5 12 by 12s. Okay, so you're going to need some kind of heavy scrapbook, cardstock, measured 5 by 9. And then I'm going to be using just a piece of, you could use any kind of heavy paper, like craft paper or something like that. It doesn't have to be this color, obviously, just any kind of, if you have any kind of like heavyweight paper, you want a page. So this was a 8.5 by 11. So I basically just cut them to 5 inches wide, because I'm going to make the cover of the notebook 5 inches wide since the pages are 4.5. So that gives me a 1/4 inch on each side. Okay, follow me? Anyway, so you just need just like regular, regular US paper size, 8.5 by 11, turn it sideways and cut 5 inches off. And you could actually use 2 pieces of paper and just glue them together. This is just for stability. This is like kind of like a stabilizing piece of paper. Anyway, so you'll need that kind of piece of paper. And this is also what we're going to be attaching these to. So you need that, and that would be 5 by 8.5 if you were cutting that from just like a regular sheet of paper. Anywho, and then another piece of cardstock, 5 by 7 inches. And this one we are going to score it at 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch from the top. Okay, so 3/4 and then 1 inch, because this is going to be the very top of our notebook. Okay, and then if you take a 12 by 12 and you cut 5 inches off of it, you wind up with a 5 by 12. So then if you cut 4 inches off the bottom, you wind up with a 5 by 6 and a 5 by 4, right? So we're going to use this piece, which is the 5 by 4, as a pocket on the inside of the notebook. So if you were trying to do this with just one sheet of scrapbook paper, you might be able to work it out. I don't know, but you may not have a pocket if you're doing that. Anyway, so I'm going to notch this in the center just because it's going to be a pocket, And then this is going to be actually our front cover. So this is going to be, no, this isn't going to be our front cover. This is going to be the bottom of the notebook. So this will be 1 inch scored from the bottom. Okay. All right. So let's score those where I said, and hopefully I did it right. Okay. So this one gets scored 1 inch from the bottom. And as I put this together, you'll be able to see like maybe where you might want to modify it, Oh, where's my big hole? My big puncher. Oh, I think I put it in a drawer. And I am going to be using my sewing machine, but you don't necessarily have to stitch this. Not necessary. You could totally do it without stitching. So I just cut out a notch. I found my giant circle punch. It was in a drawer. And then I just cut those little sharp edges off. Okay, so that's done. And then this is the actual front cover of the notebook. So this one's going to get scored at 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch from the top. Okay, so 3/4 and 1 inch. So that basically gives us a 1/4 inch spine for our matchbook. Okay, so that's all the scoring. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just crease those on the scores. Not super hard, like you still want, you basically want this to, you know, be like a little spine, you know. And then we'll fold this one up also. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave the sticky notes on these temporarily, like until we start getting things put together. So this one doesn't get scored. This one doesn't get scored. Hold on. let me grab my prototype so I can remember how I put this together. Okay. So first thing we want to do is we're going to actually glue this piece onto what's going to ultimately be the back of the notebook. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you guys, okay? Okay. So this is going to get glued right there. Now you have to make sure that it's super straight. You know, you don't want it to be crooked. Anyway, so I'm just going to run some glue just below that score line, kind of, you know, gluing that whole panel right there, that whole little panel. And then I just want to make sure this is straight. Line it up with your score line to be sure it's straight. Okay. So that's like that. Now I can take this off now. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece, which is actually the bottom part of the, you know, matchbook. And this is going to get glued on the bottom. So I'm going to actually put my glue on this piece. I'm sure there's like a gazillion ways to make this type of thing. This is just how I decided to do it. Using papers that, some of these papers I already had cut for some reason, so I think that's why I wound up using them this specific way, you know. Okay, so see, that one's glued onto the back of that. Okay, so we've got, oh crap, hold on, no, I messed up. See, okay, this has to come off. Just a minute, because see, this isn't 9 inches long. This has to come off. Come off. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so that one has to come off. I'll do another one. This is going to get covered up, so it doesn't really make that much difference. I need another one of that size, though. Hold on. See, I have them all cut out. Actually, I probably could fix that, but I'm just going to do another one. It doesn't get glued on yet. Not yet. Okay, so this one gets scored 1 inch from the bottom. Okay, and then hold your horses, Jessica. Hold the phone. Okay, so pretend this is that. Okay, then I glued this piece on the inside of this, okay? Because I didn't want just that on the very inside, like, because this is where our pocket's going to go. I didn't want just that plain paper because, like I said, that paper was just for stability, you know. Anyway, so this is going to get glued onto here, okay? So I'm just going to run a really thin line of glue right around these edges. Okay. And then it just gets lined up again with that score line. Okay. So this is, I suppose I could have just used this and not use that other piece, but I wanted it to be stiff. Like, I almost wanted it to be like chipboard, you know. I guess you could just totally just use chipboard if you wanted to and just use a 5x9 piece of chipboard on the back, but I don't know. Or like a piece of a file folder or something like that. Anyway, I just wanted it to be kind of stiff and I wanted to have some kind of decorative paper on here. So, okay, now this can get attached. Okay, so I'm taking that one off. So now that one can go on, right? Yes. Okay. Okay, and then line that up right with that score line. Okay. Oh, I guess that doesn't look super great, but we'll figure something else out to cover that up. This will be the only one that actually looks like that. Anyway, and then the little pocket. Just going to glue the little pocket right here. Okay, that we notched, that we cut a little notch out of. And we're just gluing top and both sides. And then she goes right there. Super easy. Okay, so that's basically the cover, you know. And then I wanted this to be just a little bit stiffer, so I just eyeballed and folded over a little, just a little notch right here on the bottom part. Not 100% necessary, but you know, but I kind of liked it. Okay. Now you could totally add like another layer of paper on this cover too. You know, if you wanted this to be just a little bit thicker. I think I actually did do that on this one. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Actually, I'm gonna add another piece on here because I sort of like the way that looks. You know what? Maybe I can use this. I'm totally going to use this. It just makes it a little bit heavier, you know, a little more substantial. You know what I mean? And I am going to be stitching this on the sewing machine too, so I just want to make sure that I don't go over that first score line. I'm going to be stitching around this whole thing, so So you won't really, you're not going to see this part at all. Even if it kind of lifts a little bit on the corners, you won't see it. Done a lot of stitching on the sewing machine with these journals. A lot. Okay. The nice thing about having everything cut to 5 inches is, it's all going to fit together. Yeah, I kind of like that. It gives it a little bit more weight. Makes it feel more, substantial. Anyway. Okay, so that's the cover. And then, so here's my notebook. I'm not going to stitch them together or anything like that because I just thought, I think it would be nice if people want to remove pages from this, that they don't have to actually tear them out, I need a drink. Hold on. Or they could add pages to it if they wanted to. All they have to do is punch new holes. Anywho, so I'm just going to line this up. Actually, first thing is make sure all the pages are straight across the top and that they're actually up there. Like, see, this one isn't. So there. I had to fix that one. Just gotta be sure that all of the pages are going to get grabbed when you punch the hole, because I'm going to punch a hole straight through this. Okay, hold on. Don't think I see any more that are too low. All right. So on your handy dandy crocodile, you've got, I am going to clip this though, because I really don't want this. I don't want this stuff moving around. So on your handy dandy crocodile, you have this little, you got this little gauge right here that it's like, it goes up to 1 inch. So basically what it measures is how far in, how far in you can punch your hole. So say you're punching all along a page like this, like all the way down the page. And you want to make sure that each one is at the same depth. You can use this little gauge right here. See, it clicks, and you got to like move both sides though. I don't understand how this thing works, but there. Okay. So I don't know how it moves exactly. But anyway, so I put that all the way to the back. So if you are using a crocodile and yours won't go deep enough into the page, move that little thing. It does move. It's just annoying. Like, it has to, I don't know if you have to push it and then pull it back or what, but you have to just fiddle with it and get that to come back. Anyway, so I'm going to punch a hole right through the cover and through the pages. So basically I want to line these up and take this off again temporarily. So I want to line these up just below that score line. Okay, and then I want to make sure that they're kind of centered too. Okay, you want to make sure everything is straight, because this is kind of like the only chance you get to be sure. So try closing it and make sure everything closes up. Okay, and then I'm punching with the large side, the large hole, not the tiny hole, the large one. So I'm going to go in as far as I can. And I am eyeballing how far down the page it goes, but like, I mean, to there, but that's not as critical as making sure that the hole is in as far as you can get it. Let me clamp this again. I mean, it's important, but I mean, you don't want one way down here, but you'll see what I mean. So this one I want right there. Okay. There's hole punches that punch 2 holes like this. Like, I can't remember what that chick's name is that makes that hole punch. Heidi Swap. I think I actually have one of those that punches 2 holes like this. So if you have one of those, use that. But I'm also going to be punching holes through the cover, through the journal cover. So Crop-A-Dile really is a better idea. Okay, so then we're going to lay this down on the inside cover where it's ultimately going to live. And I want to kind of bring it up, just below that row of stitching. Okay, just below that. And again, I want to make sure it's straight. Looks pretty straight to me. Okay, so holding that down, I'm just going to take like a Sharpie, and I'm going to mark on that fabric the other side onto the cover. See, made my little holes. Okay, and then again, using the large hole, you got to get all the paper out of the hole. You can see through that hole. You can see through that hole if there's nothing in there, like fabric or whatever, to line it up. Okay. So this is closing off this pocket a little bit, like so, because I'm going to be putting brads through here. So it is going to close off that pocket a little bit, which is sort of unfortunate, but at the same time, I think it looks kind of cool to have the round ends of the brad sticking out here. And, you know, you still have a substantial pocket here anyway, so it's not like a gigantic deal. Anyway, so that's our holes punched. So now I'm going to take this off, keeping the holes aligned. You don't want to screw up your holes. Now I'm going to sew, I'm going to do some stitching on the sewing machine. I'll just show you where I plan on stitching. Oh, and then I also wanted to add a couple little bits on the front, but I can do that after this. So basically, I'm just going to run a stitch all the way around. Oh, and I'm using a straight stitch. I'm not doing a zigzag. I'm just doing a straight stitch all the way around the border, pretty close to the edge. Pretty close to the edge. so that's that. And then I'm rounding off these corners too, just on this part. So our pocket is now stitched in too. See, it got the pocket. I have just a couple little pieces of ephemera that I wanted to add onto this cover. So it's going to go like that ultimately. So I just want to use one of these little images, just like a little image, and I don't know, one of these little Timmy pieces or something, you know. And just, so I want them to be right along that edge. Just two little pieces just layered up. And then I'm going to stitch those on, but I am going to use a zigzag to do that. I got to cover that up. That's going to drive me crazy. I'll put something cool on there. Okay. So that's the cover. Got some little pieces on there. All right. And then as far as closing it and keeping it, you know, keeping it shut, actually, it's going to go like that. Yeah, is that how I did the other one? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so actually a matchbook cover would go under that, but this one goes over it. Okay? Okay. So I'm just going to do an eyelet right there. Kind of a big eyelet. And I just always eyeball the center. If you wanted to measure, it's 2.5 inches. So I'm using the big hole. And then I don't know what the size is, or I would be telling you. And then I'm going to use one of these large eyelets, these wide eyelets. You could use any eyelet you want. Okay, so I will tell you, I think those are 3/8 inch is what they are. So if that's the size that you're using, if you're using the big We Are Memory Keepers eyelets, the settings that you want to use on your crocodile to make sure that it's flush and smooth on the back is the bumpy part. You want it to be on 2, okay? And then the little pointy part on the top, you want that to be on A, okay? So it's the bigger little button. It's actually a button that kind of goes in and out. So the number letter setting for the larger We Are Memory Keepers eyelets is A2, okay, for this type of application, okay. And then you wind up with it, well, you have to squeeze it pretty hard. There we go. Okay, so then you wind up with a nice smooth edge on the back. If you use the one that's kind of like rounded, then you wind up with it splayed out on the back here, and that's when it gets kind of sharp and jaggedy, because when it pushes down, it actually like splits the metal, and it's not fun. But that's why it splays out, and it doesn't always lay perfectly flat either. But if you use that little nipple shape, the more like squared off one, then what it does is it actually makes the metal roll down, like it rolls down onto itself, and just flattens like, you know, like a little roll, you know. It doesn't, anyway. Okay. I have people ask me sometimes if I would do like a tutorial on the We Are Memory Keepers eyelets and the crocodile. And I know that there's lots of them out there, so I just haven't done it. Anyway, okay, so put an eyelet there. And then I think I'm actually going to use either a little milk cap, or I might use one of these little guys. Let's just use a milk cap on this one. Actually, yeah, let's use a milk cap on this one. But I'll show you how I did the other one. I didn't use a milk cap or one of those other little things on the other one that on my prototype. So I'll show you how I did that one. And this is how you might want to do it unless you have some milk caps. In the kits that I'm sending you guys that people purchased, I do have a digital of this, of a bunch of milk caps. So I will try to print those out, and I'll send you like a half a sheet of those. So you'll have about a dozen of them or something to go with your kit. Okay. Anyway, so I'm using what size is this? 1.5 inch circle punch. You'll need 3 pieces, one of some type of decorative paper if you want it to be decorative, and then 2 just kind of whatever type of sort of heavy like cardstock. Okay, so then you're going to glue these. You're going to glue one of the like just regular cardstock and your decorative paper together. Just going to glue those together. Let me grab my other crocodile. Hold on. Okay, I have 2, and so I can have one set for small eyelets and one set for big eyelets. Okay, so then got those 2 pieces glued together. Let me put the cap on this. Now you want to hold all 3, or it's actually 2 pieces now, but hold your pieces that you glued and your other circle together. And if you want to measure it, you can, you know, figure out the exact center of this, but I'm just going to eyeball it because that's how I do everything. Make a little dot in the center. And then using your smaller hole punch on your crocodile, you want to punch that hole. Okay. Then, and this is like the easier way of doing this. I used to do it the hard way, but now I do it the easy way. Anyway, so then you put a little eyelet in there, and I'll tell you the settings for the smaller eyelets. I don't know what size those are, but these are the ones I get from Hobby Lobby. I buy them in a box. There's like 600 in the box. Anyway, so this one, the smaller eyelets, you want to use C4. C4. You want to use C4. Isn't that like an explosive? Anyway. Okay. So then you put your eyelet in, crimp it down, and see how it comes out perfect if you use those settings. Okay. And then you'll just glue that down. I'm actually going to use the milk cap. So let me punch a hole in the center of this. Oh, wait a second. I'll hold the phone. I need another circle. Actually, I need 2 more circles. the milk cap is slightly larger than 1.5 inches. A little bit of glue seeping out. Okay. And then I glued one piece onto the back of that just to make it a little stiffer. And then take my other little piece, my second piece, punch a hole right smack in the middle, and then set my eyelet in there. Okay. And then I'm just going to glue using a relatively healthy amount of glue, like a relatively generous amount of glue. And I'm going to set this, you want to make sure that those are like in line, like the eyelet is in line with the little circle part. Okay. Stick that down. If you're doing this, you would stick this down. It's pretty sturdy. I mean, if you use the art glitter glue, it's pretty sturdy. Otherwise, you can punch a hole and use a brad and, you know, stick it through and then glue a piece of paper on the back so that you don't have the little part of the brad. Or you can use the big bite. If you have the We Are Memory Keepers big bite, you can always punch it with that in place, and then you can set your eyelet using the big bite. You know what I'm talking about, the one that reaches in pretty far. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this dusty piece of equipment. This one will reach in there. That's why people have these. I used to only have that, and I use it for everything. Every time I set an eyelet or punched a hole, I used that thing. And then I thought, Jesus, this is ridiculous. Okay. All right. So moving along. All right. So let's put this in the journal. Got all that stuff done. Here's our cover. I'm almost done with these journals, you guys. I'm kind of excited. All right. So then this is going to go here. This is going to go here. Now, I happen to have a whole bunch of these vintage paper holder things, you know, these things. They're like brads, you know. I know that they still sell them. I don't know if you can find the little short ones like this, but I'm pretty sure you can. Like, they're not like rare or anything. Anyway, so I'm going through the back of the cover. It's actually the front of the cover. Actually, you know what would be kind of cool is to do a little piece of paper there. No, it's okay. It might look kind of neat though. Anyway, okay, so then I'm gonna put my cover on there, and then put my pages in there. This is why I wanted that hole to be in further, you know, because of these paper holder thingies. Anyway, some of this paper is too long, so I'm just going to fold it up. So is that one. Okay. So that is that. And then all we have to do is just add a little string. And this is pretty lightweight cotton string. This is actually the string that came in that set of tags, the Timmy tags. And that's that. So obviously you could get a lot more, you know, fancy schmancy with this and, you know, make more decorations and things like that, but that's not my job. Yeah, so I'm going to have to adjust the spine on here a little bit. I should have placed this one I guess it's okay. I should have placed this over just a little bit. It's so what I might do, see, this is too close right there. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to take this notebook out of this cover and make the next one, I'll actually just move it over a little bit. I'll leave these holes in the same place. I'll leave these in the same place, but when I punch the holes in my cover, I'll offset them a little bit so that the actual notebook sits slightly more to that side because it's hitting this. So that's something I need to make sure that I'm aware of for the rest of them too, you know. So it's better, I guess, to make the notebook a little closer to the edge rather than closer to the spine. And then this is actually going to get a closure too. Like I'm going to put an eyelet here, and then I'm either going to do like a scrappy tie, or I might do elastic, or I might just do like seam binding or something. I don't know. Or I might somehow make it so that it actually ties like in a bow, ties closed. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. Haven't gotten to that point yet. And then the little journal is going to go in here also. So, and then I'll just put like ephemera on. I'll put some extra goodies and stuff all around in there. But, you know, so as far as it being a lap book, I guess it's not really a lap book, but it's, you know, it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. What should I call it, you guys? Tell me what I should call these. I don't really know. Give me some suggestions, okay? All right, and if anybody else wants, actually, I don't think I can do any more kits. I had a line on some more bags, but she pulled out, so I guess I'm not getting any more. Anyway, but that's okay. All right, guys, I love you. Bye for now.